Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for listening to the show. Welcome to Bonding with Troy Bond. I'm your host, Uncle Troy. How are you? Podcast usually comes out Monday. Today is Thursday, so I am nothing if not punctual. How was your week? My week was great. I had a very busy week this week. Started off great. I was at the good old Comedy Cellar. The Comedy Cellar down. Actually, it was the Village Underground. I did Dave Jusko's March Madness bracket competition show something. I gotta close out this ad on my computer. The whole time I'm talking to you, there's this ad that says 4 worst BP blood pressure drugs. And it's a picture of 2 feet, one really red and swollen, and the other one is just normal. But like, any picture of a foot is disgusting. It's the most disgusting part of your body. Like, I grew up in the karate school, man, and all you see in karate is feet. I saw more feet than a dark web internet chat room. I hate feet. I mean, like, I don't mind feet, but I don't want to look at somebody else's feet, even if your nails are trimmed down and everything. You ever see somebody with like they have like a baby nail on their pinky toe? It's like a raindrop of a nail. Anyway, love starting this podcast off talking about feet. But I was at the Comedy Cellar, March Madness NCAA comedy bracket competition show. But anyway, thank you to Dave Jusko for putting me on. I got to see some of the greats: Marina Franklin, Joe Mackey, Sam Morrill. A couple others were there too. Congratulations to everybody that competed. I had a great time. That was my first time at the Village Underground. I've been to the Cellar a bunch. Both are just, I mean, the great thing about the Cellar is you walk in and they make you put your phone in an envelope, which is beautiful. It's such a good idea because 2 things. 1, I mean, obviously people record, but 2, people record your sets and then they go up on the internet and then people start calling you a hack online. It's like, I'm working my shit out, man. You're seeing what's in a special. There's a lot of people calling you fat, ugly, stupid, and hacky before you see what ends up being in a special. People don't understand about comedy now. You know, you hear a little soundbite, and it's easy to take that out of context and start a hashtag behind it. But they take your phones, put them in an envelope. Genius. For that reason, and also the reason that people are forced to interact and talk with each other before the show, which adds such a connecting element to comedy, because you have to sit and you have to warm up and interact with the people who are sitting at your table. You don't have a chance to sort of escape and check Twitter for the 2200th time, and then you appreciate the comedy way more because the whole time you're sitting down with your friends, you're like, Jesus Christ, can this thing please fucking start? I cannot listen to Chad talk about his Dodge Rover tires again at this point. He's told the story 3 times about how he ran over a duck, flipped his truck 4 times, and landed on a can of Coors Light and cracked it open just enough to where he was able to shotgun it. If he tells me that story one more time, I genuinely think I'm going to hurt people in this room. So, thank you to the Comedy Cellar. Thank you to Dave Jusko. Special shout out to Chris Murphy, who ended up getting me on that show. I had a great Tuesday. And I also went to go see that movie, Us. I went to see Us at the theater. Popcorn is $22.99 at the movie theater. And that's just for a small, and I still paid for it. The girl got to eat popcorn, while the shadow girl had to eat Ritz crackers her mother brought from home. Anyway, that movie was brilliant. I knew that people were going to start comparing it to Get Out, which is unfair because it's a completely different movie than Get Out. The thing with psychological horrors, especially like you make your directing debut in a movie like Get Out, everyone's gonna think you're gonna make these racial allegorical plots and films, but you can't trap yourself into just making one kind of movie. And Jordan Peele branched out, I would say 100% successfully in showing his depth as a horror director. This is his second movie, right? That's incredible to think that first of all, the hype surrounding Get Out was astronomical from somebody who went from Key and Peele, which I mean their sketches were always so cinematic and so theatrical that they I'm not sure if they directed that movie Keanu, that John Wick parody, but Key and Peele was so incredible, and then Jordan Peele just makes this leap to horror, and there was nothing but hype about it when the first trailer came out. And then I remember seeing that movie like 2 weeks later. It came out on a Wednesday at like 6 o'clock, and I had to sit in the front of the theater because it was packed. And I'm with my date, and like she's trying to enjoy the movie, but we're like looking up the Daniel Kaluuya's nose and listening to them talk about racism. But Us was a totally different experience, man. I'm so excited for Jordan Peele to do his Twilight Zone, because that's what this honestly felt like. It felt like an episode of the Twilight Zone. But did you guys see the same trailers before the movie that I did? Because what was there? Pet Sematary, then there was the one with Issa Rae, and who else? Oh, that movie that Octavia Spencer is in, Ma. If you didn't see the trailer, it's just it's her, a middle-aged black woman, hanging around a bunch of white teenagers, getting them drunk and murdering them. And it seemed interesting. I'll probably see it, but I don't think I'm ready to see Octavia Spencer in a horror movie yet. I'm used to seeing her defecate in racist white people's dessert dishes. Maybe that's what's in all the drinks that she's buying the kids. It's just her fermented. You know what? I'm not even going to go down that gross pathway. What the fuck is wrong with your brain, Troy? Anyway, Us was a great movie. I think Ma's going to be pretty weird. I also love... One weird thing that happened when I was at the movies was this guy gets up, and there's a wallet on the floor, and he's with his date. And it wasn't his wallet, and he picks it up, and he's like, "Oh, this happens to me all the time. I should go drop it off." And then the guy in the row behind him was like, "Actually, buddy, that's my wallet." And the guy just hands it back to him. Sir, how was that your wallet if it fell in the row in front of you? Not like in the aisle, like in the seat in front of you. And it's like one of the recliner theaters, too. So that wallet would have to have been like that can of Chef Boyardee in that commercial that rolls through all 5 boroughs of Manhattan and lands up at a strange little white girl's house. And they're like, "Ooh, let's put this in our bodies." My mom would have beat my ass if I said no to Chef Boyardee, or she said no to Chef Boyardee, and it came home. And I was like, "Hey, Mom, look, we're having Chef Boyardee." She would beat my ass if she saw that. "Bitch, you stole this can of Chef Boyardee?" "No, Mom, it rolled home. It wants us to be in love." "I will smack the black off you, Chef Boyardee can ass." I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, this guy picks up a wallet that somebody dropped, and then the guy behind him is like, "Oh, that's my wallet." The row behind him, like, what? How? And he gave it to him. They both were trying to steal a wallet. That definitely wasn't the guy's wallet behind him. And the dude just gave it to him, and he's with his girlfriend, too. That's what they, on the Reddit community, would call a beta male cuck. Beta male cuck, beta O'Rourke cuck. I gotta be honest with you guys. I was, I definitely had some Kennedy syndrome with Beto. Beto come and he run for office. Yeah, I had total Kennedy syndrome about that guy, man. I really wanted him to run, And then he announced he was running, and then this motherfucker's just standing on countertops, talking all the time. You see a picture of his family? Google Beto O'Rourke family. That is going to be the longest family in presidential history if he gets elected. Like, I'm pretty sure his grandfather was Gumby. The presidential fitness test is just going to see who can stand on their toes and come closest to touching the ceiling. That dude is long. I don't even want to say tall, but he is tall, but he's just long. And his wife is long, too. And they have weird, stringy, long kids. I shouldn't go at... I'm not making fun of the kids. I'm just making house of it. It's just a long family. I don't know. I had total Kennedy fever, as Megan Walsh brilliantly said about this guy. I don't know. He just seems kind of lame. Like, everyone was talking about how he had Barack-esque qualities, but, you know, it's just very lame, you guys. I'm so fucking proud of you. I was at a punk band in the 90s. My real name is Robert. Where do you get... You know, that's his real name, Robert O'Rourke. Why don't you just go by Bob if you really hate Robert so much? I've never met a Robert that goes by Beto. That's not even a... Beto. Robert. It's not even a shortened version of the name. It's like, hey, my name is Troy, but I like to go by Kunta Dynasty Computer Windows XP Jackson for short. Right? Like Beto. Beto! Beto! Beto coming, his name's Robert. I mean, he did so well in Texas because he had to run against human blobfish Ted Cruz. And he still lost. But it's really easy to look cool next to Ted Cruz. His wife was like, when Ted Cruz was running for president, his wife was like, oh, he was so romantic. When he came home from our honeymoon, he came back from the store with 100 cans of soup. What? What? That wasn't a red flag? It's probably not still too late to nullify the marriage at that point. You just find the person who has the marriage license and then burn it, right? 100 cans of soup? And with Ted Cruz, you know that they were all clam chowder. There's no variety. Oh, gotta have my chunks. Gotta have my chunks, Francine. Francine, gotta have my chunks. That's what he uses for milk. He cooks everything with New England clam chowder. Campbell's New England clam chowder. Not even the good soup like Progresso. Are there more than one soup companies? See, that's what Big Soup doesn't want you to know. It's all just one giant soup. How weird would it be if you came up to a woman and you were like, hey, excuse me, madam, might I interest you in a soup? Yeah, Ted Cruz came home, 100 cans of soup. All clammy and chowdery. I also use it as soap. I'm pro-life and pro-soup. Here I go again, girls. What's my weakness? Soup. Okay, now soup day, soup day, soup. Teddy loves his soup. And then that Mueller report dropped, kind of. It's like they released a single, but just the lyrics and only the first 2 lines. And it's crazy, like, that God damn it, this foot picture just popped up again. I don't want to get rid of ads on my computer. I'm never going to take blood pressure drugs. Get your goddamn feet off my computer, virus. The Mueller report thing, man, is wild because, look, I don't support this president. I gave him a chance for a very long time, but after Charlottesville happened, there was a lot of other shit that happened before that I just was shaking my head at. But at the very least, I thought, politics aside, it's not that hard to call out Nazis. And I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Up until then, I really was like, he's not racist, he's just dumb. But then after Charlottesville came out and he was like, violence on both sides, I was like, oh, he's racist and he's dumb. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, other people see things other ways, and that's the problem, man. That's why we keep fighting each other so rough politically right now. Is like it's just very absolute and cancel culture, and you can't even present. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some ideas that should be immediately shrouded and casted out and ostracized, but you're not going to understand which ones are worth listening to if you do that to every single opinion. And ever since Trump started in office, everybody was talking about impeachment, which is never, ever going to happen. They tried to do it to Bill Clinton, who I would say probably had more evidence against him than Trump did. They tried to impeach Bill Clinton. They voted for it to happen. Do you vote for impeachment? I don't know, but I know that he was being impeached and the Senate acquitted him and he didn't get impeached. And that was after he lied under oath. Had nothing to do with the blowjob. It was just the fact that he lied, but it was just overreach of Ken Starr wanting to expand the investigation more and more and more and more, and finally and ended up a little stain on a blue dress. But the Senate acquitted Bill, and he was like, "All right, y'all, that's pretty cool. Y'all are pretty cool for doing that shit. That was some cool ass shit you did. Look, I got like a month left in this office, or like a year. Honestly, man, I have no idea. I've been so goddamn high last couple of months. Soon as I'm out of this office, I'm gonna board that helicopter. I'm gonna kick Hillary's ass out. Y'all come over. We'll have a rager. Okay, we're gonna party. Everybody's gonna bone. I'll bring the pork rinds and a 30-pack of Modelo. All right, y'all cool as fuck. Y'all cool as fuck for not impeaching your boy, Bill Bubba Beasy, the Sax Man Clinton. All right, y'all. Y'all wild. I'll see y'all later." But I mean, if they couldn't impeach Bill, how are they going to do it to Trump? It's kind of like a gift Robert Mueller gave the Democrats. You know, saying that basically it's his way. I don't think he did it directly, but if I were a Democratic lawmaker, hey, it's Derek Blythe interrupting the podcast. Come on in, buddy. Don't open the door so creepily. He's just standing there. He's taking his clothes off, and his head has spun all the way around, and there's a duck on his back. Anyway, hopefully, if I were a Democratic person, if I were a Democrat, I would just, be like, all right, well, pretty much we can't impeach him, so let's spend the next 2 years kind of campaigning on criticizing his bad ideas. And maybe realizing that demonizing straight white men isn't the way to get people to come out and vote, because there's this girl at the show I was at the other night, and she was doing this material about how she hated men and straight white men. And look, I get it. Historically, most of the evil shit that's happened in this world has been done by straight white men. But if you are a straight white woman complaining about straight white men, what do you think is going to happen? A bunch of minorities are going to stand up and go, "Yeah, she's one of us. She's an ally." You can be an ally without being condescending. Because this comic was up there talking about how much she hated straight white men and how they're responsible for problems in this country. Guess what? The one demographic that overwhelmingly voted for Ginger Snap Hitler were straight white women. Bunch of crusty old women named Barbara who write borderline racist things about Muslims on Facebook. They fart constantly. Nobody really likes to have them around. Nobody would really care if anything bad happened to them, but they're the overwhelming majority of voters for Trump, at least. And I just don't see how it helps. I don't see how it helps calling out people like that. Call out bad ideas, criticize hypocrisy, speak up for injustices. If it happens to be toward a straight white dude, then sure. But there's this virtue signaling, I'm so important and way different than you vibe that when you say straight white man, that you sort of own. It's like this pretentious propensity to just be different than everybody and be like, well, I'm not like Barbara or Carol or any of them. I voted for Hillary. Stronger together. Warren 2020. I mean, I'm reading this feminist, I guess, book of essays called Mothers of Something. I forget what it's called. But, I mean, I'm now, like, because I spent so much time working on the Half Black Friday special where I was reading all about race and Jim Crow and civil rights in this country, that I kind of overlooked gender equality and, you know, the actual detriments of a patriarchal, I don't know, society. And it's bad. I don't know if you ladies know that, but you bitches have had a bad deal. No, obviously the book isn't working, but you know, I think it's very important, and I also think feminism is a class that should be taught in high school, because it's really something you have to learn on your own, and it's very hard to start learning about it moderately. Like, you jump right into it, and you get caught in this think tank, and anybody that thinks differently than you is hateful and an enemy. But, you know, there lacks this bridge. And also, I feel like the bridge is burnt on both sides. It's burnt on both sides, folks. But I think that's why I think you should teach it in school. Have an outline syllabus, criteria of what you're going to be learning. Men and women can both take it, and, you know, maybe we'll have men who step up to the plate and don't abuse and take advantage of women so much, and we'll have it's just better all. I had an incredible thought when I started off that sentence, and it totally died out. I gotta leave this podcast on a good note. One thing I wanted to say is, I don't know who needs to hear this right now. Look, it's summertime. It's springtime. The weather's warmer. You're going out. You're more inclined to go on Tinder and Bumble and Grindr and BlackPeopleMeet.com and JSwipe and Farmers Only. You know, you're gonna be out there looking for love, and you're gonna hit a lot of bricks in the wall. You're gonna have a lot of rejection. You're gonna have a lot of let's meet up on this date, and then it doesn't happen. That's why I'm here to tell you that it's okay to fuck your friends. You can fuck your friends. It's okay. It's not impossible. I mean, you don't, you know, make sure you have consent and chemistry first. But it's okay to fuck your friends. You know, who better to give back shots to than somebody that you know has had your back in the past? I think, you know, if they're a good friend of yours, they know all the ins and outs about you. They're probably not going to catch feelings because they already got him as a friend, you know. It's okay to fuck him. Because then you can just pick up the pieces and get back to your normal day-to-day life, like knitting and studying and praying and cooking. You won't have to worry about Tinder messaging in between those dates and, like, getting those, "Hi, how are you? I am Russian donut sex person. Would you like to see my bobs? Click the link in profile and watch my husband watch you fuck me." Avoid that and start fucking some of your friends like the rest of us do. Friends! How many of us fuck them? Friends! Ones that we can come on, let's be friends! I think I'm going to leave the podcast on that note. It is okay to fuck your friends. A couple things I want to plug. I am going to be in Weehawkins, New Jersey, Wednesday, April 10th. I'm going to be at Broadway Comedy Club Saturday and Sunday, 9 and 11. And, Derek, is there anything you want to say? And that's word. Dogs. Pet dogs.
Send me pictures of them.
You can send him pictures of dogs. But I'm also trying to do this new thing called Uncle Troy's Advice Column on this show. If you have any questions or life problems or stories you'd like to share with me, maybe I can help you talk them out or work through them, shoot me an email, and I'll read them on the podcast. Subject line, just write whatever, but send an email to troyhasebola@gmail.com, and we can talk about and work through your problems or your stories or whatever. I'll talk about them right on the podcast. I'll start doing that next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. I will talk to you all on Monday. Thank you for hanging out with. Thank you for hanging out with us. Have a great weekend. Start laying the groundwork right now. And fuck a couple of your friends, and let me know how it goes. Share with me your experience. All right, I'll see you guys on Monday.